Out of all the questionable things Earth's greatest hero has done over the years, for the most part, they've all turned out for the better no matter how much the odds were stacked against him. Letting Vegeta escape, having Gohan face Perfect Cell alone, and leaving Majin Buu to a couple of children come to mind. Even if those couple of children's were a fused fighter and one of the most powerful warriors the Earth has ever seen. But what if he made a mistake that would change everything? One very questionable move that would not only summon the downfall of himself, but reality as we know it.
This manga was created by Chibi Dam'z. Support him using the links below.
In the Palace of the ZENOs, at an undisclosed period of time, only that it must be sometime after the Tournament of Power, the Omni Kings thank Frieza of all beings for attending this meeting of theirs. While they normally choose to refrain from micromanaging the mortals, they've noticed some things he's been up to lately. They must warn that his actions are quite alarming, and it will be seen as an affront to all of the gods if he were to continue this quest of his for something they call the Divine Blade. But what could such a thing be? A sword of some kind created by the gods? Or possibly even the Z-Sword which the old Kaioshin was sealed inside of by Beerus? But about that, as he knows there's nothing he could hope to hide from those who stand as high as themselves, Frieza admits he's forced to confess something to him. That it's too late. After somehow delivering a fatal blow to one of the Omni Kings, the demon cackles that his strategy has finally paid off. He himself spread the word that he was still merely searching for the blade, when in reality he's had it in his possession for what feels like forever now, or at least long enough to learn how to utilize its full potential. This reveals the object in question not to have the appearance of a traditional sword, but a mystical purple pata, or Katar. Frieza also appears to have the ability to draw and retract it at will. Furious, the remaining Zeno snaps his fingers while grunting. His existence ends here. With this, he will be removed from this reality and his soul shredded into countless intangible particles. While initially seeming to be erased, the confidence and malevolence returned to his villainous face, almost as if his attempted demise was only for show. Much like when he was hit with Caesar's destruction energy when he first emerged from hell to join the Tournament of Power. He continues his maniacal laughter at the idea the gods always leave weapons which can destroy them just lying around, leading us to question who of the two parties is the most arrogant. It's then explained the Divine Blade was created by the first angel who sat beside Zeno as his supreme advisor. The latter was disposed of without a second thought after opposing a single decision of his master. Though still having sympathy for him, Zeno decided not to kill him, but instead sentenced him to serve the rest of his days as a commoner, an animal, nothing more than a simple mortal. This would be a mistake Zeno would come to regret. This angel, called Lianagai, grew vengeful. He had served loyally for eons, and this was his thanks for having the fortitude to stand up for his beliefs. While he was indeed immortal now, his life would still be long, although it took him until he is old and weary. Knowing of the magic and nearly all the secrets of the gods, he succeeded in forging a blade unlike any that came before it, whether created in the heavens or the dirt which he stood. This blade was capable of killing even divine beings. Furthermore, it had the ability to create a protective aura around its wearer, making it the perfect offensive and defensive weapon against the most powerful beings in all reality. No longer allowed to interact with the deities, he hid it in an unmarked sanctuary on a distant, unremarkable planet, while leaving signs across the galaxy to its whereabouts, hoping that one day, someone would dedicate themselves to defy the gods in his place. On Earth, the next day. Appearing on Earth amidst one of the Saiyan's many training sessions, Beerus bellows to the pair if they can stop fighting for just 5 minutes. The presence of both he and Whis immediately get their attention. Whis details how something terrible has just happened. Frieza has managed to eliminate both of the Omni Kings, along with his father, the Grand Priest as well. While it's unknown how he managed to accomplish such a task, they need their help to come up with a plan to stop him, as they likely know Frieza better than anyone. Vegeta grunts at Goku that this is all his fault, bringing that psychopath back to life. What was he thinking? Though in Goku's defense, Frieza was an instrumental piece to their team during the Tournament of Power. At any rate, it would be Bulma who came up with the idea of using the Dragon Balls. This way, they could go back in time just before these fateful events would take place. The Angel's temporal do-over ability may only be able to take them back just a few minutes, but with Shenron's help, they may be able to do something even better. So in the face of Beerus' haste, and as fearful as his dragon is of the Destroyer, Shenron agreed to embrace the Forbidden by going back in time a single day. The gang had to act fast before Frieza took action. Whis helped Goku detect Zeno's palace using Frieza's aura. As the four of them appear before Zeno when announced, the God of All demands to know what they're doing here without permission. But Frieza strikes him down without hesitation. Whis tells how he's using the Divine Blade, which protects him from all magic, including that of Zeno. Beerus shouts for the Saiyans to act now. Restraining the Frost Demon, Frieza's left to wonder where he went wrong with his plan, all the while ignorant of the fact this is the third time that time travel has thwarted his ambitions in some capacity. As the Saiyans show, it appears one thing the blade doesn't protect against is brute strength, and since he's no longer a risk to those around him, Beerus announces that the villain's insurrection ends here, revealing the second thing the Divine Blade doesn't protect against: energy of destruction. And unlike Seadra, Beerus is actually powerful enough to finish the job. And while this technique would usually result in not only death, but absolute obliteration of his existence, through the power of marketing and merchandising, Frieza would be cast down to hell where he would make a very special friend. The once proud Emperor laments the worst part of all of this is that he died while in this form, and it's impossible to change once you're down here. Meaning this is goodbye to Golden Frieza, though he continues to vow his revenge. Later, Zeno thanks our heroes for the intervention. While they were busy, Whis was dutiful enough to explain the situation. However, they have committed several offenses that may have had irreversible effects on the universe. The Grand Priest chimes in that a few of these include manipulation of time and unauthorized entry into the Celestial Palace. Going on, Zeno announces it's for these reasons. Action must be taken. Their contact with the gods has caused multiple disturbances. Therefore, they are now and forever forward forbidden to interact with any of them ever again. In addition, as punishment, the last several wishes made with the Dragon Balls will be undone. Goku goes to argue how terrible of an idea this is. What he's proposing will change much more than the effects of 1 or 2 instances of time travel. Vegeta warns his rival to shut up before he makes things worse. Grand Priest raises his staff and states the decision has already been made and is irrevocable. With the power of the gods, certain past events were then altered. The Super Saiyan God will never be born without Beerus' intervention and Shenron's insight. Pilaf and his gang will simply grow old as they naturally would. Kibito and Kaioshin never saw their fusion cancelled out, rendering them a single entity once more, among many other things. Zeno believes it's time to revolutionize the way the deities do things. The gods of destruction are all consumed by vice. They need to find a powerful, pure-hearted warrior to replace them. So with this, Zeno demands the angel assistance of the 12 universes be brought here. They will take the place of the Destroyer starting today. As for the Dragon Balls, which have been a catalyst for much of this, he wants to know if it would be possible to put a curse on them. Their use has become too problematic and recurrent. What was once meant to inspire and instill hope has been farmed into an infinite loop of infinite power to the mortals. The Grand Priest regrets he can't remove them from existence, but he can make sure they undergo a surge of evil energy every time a wish is made. The resulting disaster should act as a deterrent for any civilization that dare to use them. Now, we're left with a multiverse where the gods and mortals are once again forbidden from contacting each other. How will the story of our heroes continue? What will become of them if they're constantly unable to use the Dragon Balls as their end-all reset button? Could this place them in a scenario while still enjoyable to many, will be boring and regressive to others? A vile, slow-paced world which tries to recreate the vibe of the original series, though is unable to live up to the legacy of its predecessor. A series that takes place many years in the future, one that the original author probably didn't have 100% to do with its creation. One that's totally not just a cash grab to capitalize on its namesake, which isn't what Super did at all. And if such a title were created, we could only imagine what kind of fever dream it would be.